Okay, good morning guys. Let me see, I'm still learning this streaming program. I know we are due in 2 minutes. I want to try something just to see if this would work. Hopefully it will. And let me see how to do it. Where is it now? Oh, there it is. Let's try. Let's just try and live and learn, right? As they say. So
Mr. President, on this occasion of your birthday, this lovely lady is not only punctilious but punctual. Mr. President, Marilyn Monroe. A woman about whom it truly may be said she needs no introduction. But let me just say, here she is. But I'll give her an introduction anyway, Mr. President, because in the history of show business, perhaps there has been no one female who meant so much, who has done more. Mr. President, the late Marilyn Monroe.
Everybody, hopefully we are going to try something different and we are going to see what results you are going to get. As you are well aware, especially those of you who have been around, I have not done this before. I have done it privately, and of course you're more relaxed when you're doing this privately. So I really hope, because we are still going through Mercury retrograde, that you're hearing me and that everything is at least auditory fine on your end. As this is the first time and it's kind of like learning experience to see how this really works when it's just like not kind of like sitting with my friends and doing this kind of stuff, I have prepared a few questions that I really want to find out about her. Basically, I can get the emotional impact of the things that are basically happening. So I would like to ask emotional questions. I sometimes do get more kind of like targeted answers, kind of like, hey, this happened, this happened, this happened. But for example, I want to ask questions about Norma Jean Mortensen, which is basically the name she was born with. She was born June 1st, 1926. And I don't know how many of you know that at the age of 20, when she started to kind of like her movie career, she actually started that under the name of Marilyn Monroe. So we have the first 20 years where we actually need to talk to Norma Jean. Then it was pretty, I guess, tumultuous childhood. I want to ask you questions about that. There are 3 marriages to James Doherty, Joe DiMaggio, Arthur Murrell. Maybe you saw me preparing the pictures to put them up. And then, of course, it was JFK, and then it was death. So just give me a second to get a fan blowing in me, because I have to turn off air conditioning so you guys can hear it better. And we will start in just about a minute. Come here with me. There we go. And you never know, maybe Safi is going to come and join us and stuff. So as I was meditating, I have prepared different decks as I'm going to use them for different purposes. The first one that I was really drawn to was Thelema, and I was wondering why, but I guess because it does give this outer-worldly kind of like a feeling in this deck. I definitely want to use this deck for her death, and also I want to use Deviant Moon if we even get a whiff of that something wicked happen. I definitely, because this one is a really difficult deck to deal with. So I don't know. I don't think that I ever did any readings with that one. Then this is the one that I want to start with, because this to me is like a very the other side kind of a thing deck. I totally kind of like feel there's like something godly in this one. I don't know why. It's just, you know, how I connected with that, because each card almost like gives us a window to almost like some kind of like celestial event that is really happening. So these Kipper cards are similar to Lenormand. I would like to use them for, I guess maybe childhood as well, because Kipper, and God bless Germans, is giving us a very pragmatic kind of like what is really happening, because most of us are just seeing her in a really iconic way. And I really have to say, I don't really know much about Marilyn Monroe. Of course, one of my favorite movies is Some Like It Hot. It's just like, and I cannot really tell that I saw any other movie. I saw kind of like sketches and her singing. She was like really, really good singer. Good Morning, Lynn. And I really think she was like really pegged in the role that she kind of like must play, and she's being a Gemini, that started to get on her nerves, that she kind of like just has to be this like damn blonde bombshell kind of a thing, that clearly kind of like feels that I'm already picking up on that. So let's hope that we will connect. I need to write down, as some of you who got a reading with me, you know that I have to write down with my hand the birthday, even though this birthday, so this is like difficulty when you're channeling. Now on the other side, this birthday means nothing to her because she lived before, she probably lived after. Oh yeah, that could be another question. Reincarnation, to see if she did come back. So we are going to ask that as well. And then I also have chakra cards that always helps me to see if there are any obstacles that we really need to look into, and so on and so forth. So since we are starting with the childhood, let's start with this one. So let's start my Godly Cards connection. And I love these cards. The only thing I dislike about them, look at the size of these cards. They're like much bigger. I know that maybe it doesn't look much bigger to you, but for me, this is the ideal size of a card for my hands. So anything bigger than that starts to be weird. And actually, since I already was drawn to Kipper, let's grab this as well. So let's go. Norma Jean Mortensen, June 1st, 19. Ooh, we are getting some messages already. We are getting Knight of Pentacles and we are getting Six of Pentacles. Okay, can I get some more? This one wants to come out, and oh, this one is Judgment. So her life was reincarnation to start with. This is clearly saying, and it looks like she is saying, I don't even know how to use it because I'm not hearing any voices. I'm simply for now guided with the cards. I'm going to tell you if we have any kind of like flashes or insights. But for now, what I see here as Knight of Pentacles and Six of Pentacles is really telling me that in a previous life she had very grounded personality, so very much ungrounded in the life that she just lived, for the one that we are really examining right now. And the Knight of Pentacles, it means the friendship was really, really important to me. I think she came from also a family that has been, actually no, she came from a very wealthy family. And I think this is why Pentacles are showing, and that's why she was born basically into poverty. And I think this is kind of like what this is really telling me about that. It almost like feels that in her previous life she experienced some kind of like tremendous guilt, tremendous reservation, toward like, I mean, there was like a lots of work with charity that she had in her previous life. It's kind of really interesting. There's scales, but like they almost look like a wishbone over here, like in this particular deck. And it is like about somebody's coming with a plate, and it's kind of like asking, and she kind of like really felt motivated with kind of like changing things around. It almost like kind of like looks this way, kind of like, hey, I'm really coming here. It's quite the opposite that I'm getting a feeling this time around from this deck. I'm getting a feeling that she is kind of like drawn in to kind of like bring life, and that she always felt, and I don't know, for some reason I'm almost like I'm getting a feeling that also the reason why she went to movie industry was to kind of like spread that joy and happiness. Mind you, like there is like, I mean, huge sense of guilt that she wanted to release, that she felt in her private life before this one, and the whole idea of coming to this particular life in this form was just to kind of like rectify that. So let's continue. June 1st, 1926, Norma Jean Mortensen, June 1st, and we have Four of Swords reversed. So Four of Swords is talking, and look at how, and you can see his lifeless form over here. Actually, now when I'm thinking, okay, I'm finally getting some hints, intuitive hints. And the hint was literally telling me I didn't have to live long because I've accomplished what I have set myself up to do. It didn't make sense anymore. That's kind of like what they got as this card was falling out. Four of Swords is really actually talking about gratefulness. It's really talking about I have survived, right? It's usually about Knight being sent to the battle, and Knight coming back and giving this prayer and thanks to God for saving his soul. But this came reversed, so that's kind of like combined with the message that I received. It's clearly talking about kind of like death. It's almost like thanking for that, but like, I mean, I'm kind of like asking about childhood, and this one also wants to come out. Oh my gosh, Five of Cups. It's a sorrow. It's kind of like feeling unwanted. And if I remember, she had some weird childhood, right? Am I right on this one? That she was like in the orphanage at some stage. And this to me, like, if anything says orphanage, this one says, right? Like feeling like, I mean, that loved one abandoned you, and everything in front of you is just basically turmoil in which you just really don't know how to deal with and how to compensate, right? And even the highlights, and that's what we see here from the castle in the life, are kind of like not really making sense, because it's kind of like being absorbed and involved into your own thing. I mean, look what I'm getting for her childhood. This was like birth and reasons, and now I'm getting childhood, and I'm getting the Chariot. And the Chariot is like what basically stimulates you. And it's kind of, you see, that's what we see. Like, I mean, what happened before? You went through, like, I mean, the council of elders, right, on the other side, and said, no, in this life, I have been very wealthy, and now I really want to basically compensate, and I want to kind of like give, and kind of like give myself, or kind of like work on it. Then, you know, she gets the worst possible destiny, I guess, right? Like, I mean, as I know, like knitting yogi, as you said, the childhood was kind of like weird. I think her mother was very poor, and I was just reading this morning, just like brush up on it, but then I thought maybe I shouldn't be really reading that much about it, because that might influence me. But the part that I did read was like that her mother has, oh yeah, that's another question I can ask. That mother had 2 kids already, and that these 2 kids were taken by the abusive husband, and then she was in California living with some kind of lodgers, and apparently Marilyn Monroe didn't know her sister until the age of 12. And I do have somewhere the picture of Marilyn Monroe with her sister. My God, aren't they even looking like? They're actually half sisters, I believe, but resemblance is just crazy. That's actually going to be one of the questions I will ask later about, you know, like, I mean, how did that work out, and if they were close, etc., etc. So, interesting that we are getting Chariot. Look at it. It's like tap, tap, titty, tap, tap, titty. Chariot is actually a really good card. Chariot is an extremely spiritual card. It's very different in this deck, right? Lynn, let's not go right now watching videos instead. So I'm removing, I cannot remove this message for some reason. So I need to kind of do this. I'm sorry. All right, so yeah, I don't like links posted or anything else, because I'm here, I'm dedicating my time to be with you. I'm trying to focus in this time, so anything that kind of like takes people off, like, I mean, then just do it, right? That's why we are going to have the chat line, so if you can leave a message, kind of like you can do it later, and that probably would help people. So in this deck, usually the Chariot usually signifies a person who is debating issues. So it's kind of like, I'm ready for this war. Remember how I was telling you about these knights? They're going to war. But the Chariot is the boss of all, basically, knights, right? It's a really fast moving card. And I'm wondering, let me see, what is her ascendant? I think Marilyn Monroe probably, I would guess, has a Leo ascendant. I did get her natal chart somewhere. Oh, did I? Where is it? Where is it? Just give me a second. Voila. Okay, so yeah, it's a Leo, and it's right smack in the middle. But look at that, she has that ascendant, and the moon is right in the opposite over there. Okay, the sun is in the 11th, so this is connecting to her, to Aquarius. So when you have Aquarius in your chart, it is kind of like prominently, as we can see it over here, right? So unfortunately I can't activate those lines because this is just a picture. This clearly tells me you belong to the world, right? This is kind of like one of those karmic things. Think about Oprah and kind of like that is happening. It's kind of like these people usually don't have children, right? Like when you have like such big effect, not that Aquarians don't have children, don't get me wrong, right? But that's kind of like what happened. I just like wanted to see the ascendant, and it's at 13, and here we have the 13th degree. Do we have one more? I would need to have one more. I don't see one more. Usually I connect 3 13s with a violent death, but this is close enough at the 12. It's kind of like still a conjunction, so that's kind of like really interesting here. But right now, like, we are really not we are really not checking her chart because she's not among us anymore, right? So this kind of like wouldn't make sense. So Chariot is really telling me here that she kind of like took herself by the bootstraps and tried to find the way out of it. And it was kind of like trying to assert your independence over here, right? So the independence, I think maybe for her meant her first marriage. And the first marriage was at the age, how old was she? 16, I believe. It says in my notes, James Doherty, 1942 to 1946. And so let's put his picture. And where is the picture? James Doherty. I mean, look at this picture. This is James Doherty. Then this is Jody Maggio. Then this is Arthur Miller. Like, here you can see her being happy. He's proud and content. This guy, you just look in this picture, just like doesn't look right. She's happy. And actually this guy looks like, and both Miller and this guy really had this like big respect for her, like anyhow. But this is the first one, and I think this is kind of like where she felt that she's going to be, quote unquote, kind of like saved from whatever the destiny. And I think her mother also kind of like got married very young, and maybe kind of like maybe Norma Jean felt this is what's going to do. I believe she was working in a factory at that stage, and kind of like that was like influencing her to some extent. But let's see. So let's check now her marriage to James Doherty to see what we get out of it. Marilyn Monroe, June 1st, 1926, and her first marriage to James Doherty. And we have Knight of Wands reversed. Did she have... Almost like this would tell me miscarriage, guys, to be honest with you. And then we have Three of Cups. This talks about a friendship of some sort. I think this guy was a cop. Ooh, Ten of Swords. I actually don't even know anything. I mean, she died before I was born, right? Like the most of us. It was really interesting that Nitin Yogi said, hey, you know what, like I really wanted to be like her, and even kind of like taking a bath with the champagne. It's kind of like weird, you pick up on kind of like really bad things, but she was an alcoholic, right? So this is this first marriage, and the message that I'm getting here is like this was like no basically walk in a park, that's for sure. This to me is one of those cards that can signify abuse and feeling it's one bad thing after another, and I really don't think that abuse was featured anywhere online or anything like that. So how long they were married for? 4 years, and technically that might be less, because in 46 she went to basically Hollywood, right? And that's where she got her new name. So I think this was like almost like prelude to it. Maybe this means she just really had to just move on. But this is really also telling me, but look at this, 10 and 3 is 13, right? 13 signify death in this, but like in this case I think it was just like a death of a marriage. There was like no friendship, and she had to rely on other friends for support, etc. And finally that was just it. So at this stage, somewhere in August of 1946, her marriage was finalized, which means this marriage could have been, like, breaking even before. And at this stage, Norma Jean Mortensen, is becoming Marilyn Monroe. And I really have to tell you, when you come to know numerology, you will see the enormous shift in energy that happened from her original name to Marilyn Monroe. Like in my tarot course, I kind of like touch upon kind of like this numerological thing, and I didn't even check what she is in numerology because this is more or less her channeling. But as we know, that name was just like very powerful, even though it didn't catch on right away. But this is like not expected. Like, I mean, come on, let's not be children thinking, oh, ooh, I just changed my name. Oh, I'm going to be famous tomorrow, kind of a thing. In fact, I really don't think that Norma Jean wanted to be famous, and this kind of like was this indication, I need to move forward, I need to move on. And that to me tells me that in spite of the circumstances, she did have people she could rely upon. She really looked for that friendship, that Aquarius thing that I've told you. It was really, really important. So let's see what happens now, just like I'm in the birth of Marilyn Monroe. So August 1946, tell me about Norma Jean Mortensen transitioning to Marilyn Monroe. Tell me about that transitioning. Tell me about transitioning. Oh, it's very nice. And we have Two of Swords. Can you tell me about, so which way do I pick it up? This way. And look, we have Justice. You see this karma cards coming. This is a karma card. This is a karma card. Like their swords. And we have the Hierophant. Check this one out. So the Hierophant is basically, to me, a scrutiny, right? It's a marriage also that could be talking about Joe DiMaggio. That can actually talk about that. Literally, just means marriage. It could mean about making a decision. That's right. She was she was married to Joe DiMaggio in 1954. So she did have a gap of quite a few years over here. So right, 1954. So this is like not it. It was like really her finding yourself. So this is not about marriage. Actually, it could be about marriage. It could be this divorce that is affecting her. Because the Two of Swords is like one of those two blindfolded cards in a deck. But she is really trying to figure out. And here you can see this like big influence of the intellect, kind of like that she applied. Because in this life form, in that lifetime, she had lots of air. Where in the previous life, we see that she brought lots of pentacles. So she had highly earthy thing, which I guess we can see in her, like, I mean, timeless beauty. I mean, I don't know, like, I mean, I would call her beautiful, to be really honest with you. To me, she is having some quality that is like so unique that it's irresistible, and to me it's like tops and trumps that beautiful anytime. The Hierophant can also mean that there is like a structure, and I think because at this stage, because we ask about the birth of her, this could talk about the contracts. This can talk about things that she really went into when she started getting those movie roles, right? Because I think she, I don't know if you guys know that back then they really owned you. It's like they would sign up with a studio and they just could do with that studio. Now actors sign up with a movie, they have quite a bit of say. Some of them become producers, so then they have even more say because their money is buying them that, and so on and so forth. And I really think that here it was, I believe she also had these nude photographs, right, that she was trying to establish herself, or she was working like a pinup model or something like that. That came out as a scandal, I believe. Or maybe this is a kind of like part of this as well over here. But imagine how that would be today. Like, that would not wait years to come out. It will come right away. So in a sense, you can see, like, remember how I said it's going to be something really karmic? We got a karma card, and we got also Hierophant. We got really, really two. So it is like 16, 18. And 18 is representing the Moon card. The Moon card is really representing Hollywood and vision and dreams and pretend to be kind of a thing, right? That's why Moon card is sometimes connected with jealousy. So yeah, I guess this is really a birth of a celebrity that we are really seeing it over here. So that's going to be, I guess she kind of like felt energized. She felt she's going in a new direction. And she actually felt, I really feel the decision she made was actually made with her mind versus with her heart. She was just pushing herself forward. And I really think that's the message that they keep getting. You need to move forward. One foot, like I'm seeing just the feet walking and they're almost like in the sand and walking through the water, which makes it more difficult. Let me just have a sip of my coffee here. And I hope I put sugar in there. And I put my pentacle here on the table. I don't know if you can see it, but there are like actually crystals everywhere, just for protection. So here we are now. So I don't know if I need to ask anything more about a career, because we all know what it was. We know, like, I mean, that, well, why not? Let's grab a few cards about her career. Why was that MERILYN wants to tell us about her career? Ooh, we have 7 of Wands. That's interesting. Very interesting. And then we have King of Cups, and then we have 6 of Swords. Now this is really interesting. Again, guys, we have 13. She's saying my work was killing me, right? Can you see this 13s dominating? How much of a coincidence this can continue to be. So 7 of Wands is always talking about you reaching what you want to reach. You feeling that pinnacle of success. You are on the top, but you feel that you need to defend. So it was not only about the success, but for her was like that she felt she was always questioned. Kind of like everybody felt, oh, I can do that, I can be there. So she felt that she had to kind of like fend off all of these attacks and all of these things. And this could be simply fending off men. That kind of like can really talk about that. And that's kind of like really important, because there is like a King of Cups showing up here. What sign was Joe DiMaggio? Let me just see. I didn't even check his horoscope. Let me just see that. Joe DiMaggio. He's a Sagittarius. He was he was a Sagittarius. I guess he died as well. So that's what I wonder, if that kind of like is him over here, because there was like somebody kind of like a King of Cups. I believe that she must have been dating, like in the meantime. It was like not like that you just, you know, you divorced the guy in 1946 when she was 20, and then she wouldn't date anybody in 9 years. So clearly it was somebody here that she's informing us who was like really special to her. To me, King of Cups are the people who are really protective of you. Good morning, Creative Guru. Good morning, Sally. So King of Cups is somebody who was really right. This person could have been sign of Pisces. Maybe you guys know more about that period than I know, but this is clearly that she's showing that she had somebody helping her, and there were like these troubles. The 6 of Swords is always bridge over troubled waters. It's kind of like transitioning. That's the transitioning into kind of like new role, into this new era. Kind of like it was really important. So let's check. Hello, Jill. Let's check now. Joe DiMaggio, what she wants to tell us about her marriage over there. Let me just pull this a little bit back so we have a little bit more room over here. There. Okay, MERILYN. At this stage, I'm going to call her MERILYN, born June 1st, 1926. Can you please tell us about Joe DiMaggio and your impressions, what we need to know that's maybe not known publicly, and kind of like your sentiments and so on and so forth. Look, not much. This one wants to come out. We have King of Pentacles. So clearly it was a very meaningful husband. Clearly a husband. We do know that he's the husband. This one wants to come on the bottom. The Magician, which is interesting because this is Mercury. There was like lots of change. So was this a change in her life? Look at that. It's kind of like almost looking like a huge hourglass over here. What else? And then we have 2 of Cups. That was a big love. Let me put that photo on here, because we are doing Joe DiMaggio here. So here they are. It's kind of like the happiness. So clearly, even though I really thought, honestly, when I saw this picture, and you know that I can read that aura from the people, she was like very happy with him. Just doesn't look like a couple. I'm sorry. Like, what do you guys think? Like, where is my Kylie? She's not here. She's also good with this. So, what is like? I mean, NLNA saying The guy she hired to wiretap her phone line supposedly knew she was dying. He did not do anything. So, well, that's really interesting. But look, she's sending a message that she loved Joe DiMaggio, absolutely love him. I guess we can see that from the photograph. That's kind of like for sure, but kind of like I'm intrigued, kind of like of why this marriage was very short-lived, because honestly I don't know anything about it. So maybe we should ask that question. So can you really tell us, and I'm going to use Kipper for these questions. Brian, can you tell us why this marriage just went sideways? That was really interesting, right? All right, look, I mean, Creative Guru, it's just like we know this kind of like information as kind of history, but like, I mean, you look at these pictures which read the energies, the snapshot of energy in time, it's really weird. But he was very famous too. Ooh, official person. And this is a 22. Oh, community. I think that his issue was, oh man, I guess it's typical. I don't want to share my wife with the world. He just didn't want it. And I think this is what she's telling me, that was the problem. That they had to put these personas out front. It was like a double whammy. And just think about it, that probably was possible the first, famous BENNIFER, right? The first famous kind of like couple that everybody kind of like envied, and they were kind of like, in terms of couplehood, the Beatles kind of a thing. So this really tells me that, sorry, coughing again. This really tells me that there was like this thing, but look at the amount of love she is advising over here. This is like crazy. No, I don't know like what happened in that picture. I think this was like shortly after the marriage ceremony. That's what I tried to see, because that kind of like happiness can be read at the best. But there's like nothing bad that she's saying, but I really think she must have felt let down, because look what this reading is telling us, that all along she really wanted to find, look at this, is a King of Cups and he's like a King of Pentacles. She needed some kind of support because she was floating. Mind you, like when you are an air sign, you're more equipped to kind of like go through life kind of like in dire straits, if you wish. But she really, solidity, that's kind of like looks to me, because that's where we got, and that was like more prominent, very prominent when she became Marilyn Monroe. That's kind of like where it was very, very important. So Creative Guru says, like, looks like he was jealous of her notoriety. That's kind of like how it feels. That, did he want to own her? Well, let's see. I guess I would really need to contact to him, but let's see like the final message that Marilyn has about Joe DiMaggio, because I respected her so immensely that he never wanted to talk about her, and that shows either an anger or huge respect. Okay, so what did we get here? We got house. Whoa, talking about ambiguous kind of like answers. So what does it mean, house? Does it mean that idyllic life, that kind of like, as you said, like, I mean, playing home? Or does it mean the house, the motion picture house that own her? No. Can I get please one more, so I can kind of like get a little bit more information? And mature man. Actually, I think he felt she was immature. I'll be really honest with you. That's kind of like what I am concluding out of it. That there was like a feeling that she felt a little bit, oops, what did I do here? I moved something and I don't know what I moved. I don't know what I moved. Please, 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 because like I have so many layers here, then I move them. And then I get panicky because I don't know what is under. So that's kind of like what they get over here. But like, I really have to tell you that this was like a huge respect, that she still respects him. And this kind of like, it's very meaningful because now she ran through her head so many times. It's interesting that they were married for a year, which means that marriage was finalized, and it was just, this is not working, and just like kind of like I'm out kind of situation. So the next one was Arthur Miller, and that's, I think, my opinion, intellectual opinion, is like where she got in a phase that she felt she was not taken seriously. This is actually a good photograph, don't you guys think? It's kind of like where he's content. Here I'm going to make it a little bit bigger first for you to see it, so that way you go over that, and then I'm going to put it down so we can see what comes out for this, and then we can make a decision. I heard my phone clicking, except I don't know where I put my phone. My phone. What's going on? No, I don't want to buy anything. Okay, so sorry, I have to have my phone because of my dad. It's always stuff like that. When when I just put the selected kind of numbers can come through, that's kind of like what happens. Oh, by the way, as I put it into our fun facts before, on today's date, and that's what Wikipedia said, like Marilyn Monroe decided, oh heck, I'm just made to be a housewife. So it's almost the opposite to June 19th, right? So kind of between, how do you pronounce it? Juneteenth, right? Kind of like a celebration. So let's go next. Let's go Arthur Miller. And I think he was like quite, he was like much older. Let me just see his sign when I am checking this in order to kind of like get really quick information. This is very inaccurate way of doing it, right? Arthur, because you're supposed to do the whole chart. Well, he was a Libra. You see, it's kind of like really interesting. So this guy, how much older he was born in 1915, so 11 years older. They made it into, oh, he was so much older. Oh, he was 11 years older. I don't think that's a big deal. I don't know what you guys think. I dated guys who were like, 20 years older than me and 15 years younger, so I really don't think that really matters. Let me see. You lost me? Man, well, I'm just trying to catch up with you. That does make sense. Almost like he wanted to be her to be an idiot. I think people were marrying her roles, right? That's how we experience those actors. Right? We experience Brad Pitt as like this really alluring, fun guy who is smart, but in his life he's a pothead, right? An alcoholic. It's kind of like would not work, and it's even probably worse when you kind of have this expectation, and then that's kind of like what you get, right? So they both seem happy in this picture. She seems like she's sort of pulling him out of his shell. Yeah, really look for really good photos of it here, and just looks like that kind of like really makes sense. And actually she was married to him longer than anybody else. Imagine being 5 years married with all that fame, and both of them were also very famous. So see, my husband was 14 years older. Like, yeah, I really don't think that's kind of like a really big deal. And I know that some people will be not dating anybody who is like over 5 years older. I don't know what it is, because biological age doesn't really translate into maturity, but that's just me. So let's go here. Marilyn, can you please tell us about what you feel, what you want to tell us about Arthur Miller? What do you want to tell us about Arthur Miller, your marriage and everything? Look at that. We have the moon. I think he was a really big help. Somebody said to get her out of her shell. So the moon is like also definitely connecting to Hollywood. I believe he was helping writing some scripts or something, because I think that's where Marilyn wanted to be a serious actress. Ooh, 801s. It was like a lots of expression of love. That doesn't surprise me. He's freaking Libra. She is Gemini. So that kind of like energy was like probably very bubbly. And this guy probably had lots of romance that he was introducing over there. And this one really wanted to jump through. Then we have a 2 of Wands. And I really believe this is about cheating, because Marilyn started to cheat at this stage, and that's kind of like where I think he had affairs with her screen co-actors, what do you call it, right? And that's where I think JFK kicks in at this stage. So I'm going to start putting this a little bit more up, and I think it's harder and harder to get quality information with how many cards I have on the deck. But I'm going to just do one more, right? Because we don't have that many cards that can come through. That's why I started to use different decks to really get it. And I really have to tell you, I'm not getting the greatest energy. I get just small flashes here and there, and that's fully understandable. Imagine how many people wanted to channel her. I guess she's really exhausted with, you're asking me all these questions and nobody's doing anything about it. But this kind of like, look at the wands. It was like some kind of sizzle. It was like, I almost like feeling, I don't know if the rebirth is a really good way to say it, but she really felt that he put her on a pedestal. She really did. Isn't that how put people on pedestal and then, you know, I mean, then kind of like something happens. So he puts her on a pedestal. She cheats on him, right? It probably kind of like felt horrible. This is kind of like what she always wanted, to have somebody that dedicated. She gets somebody that dedicated, because this is like talking about the love. And I'm wondering if this is just about the marriage, or this is the other interference. I'm going to have just one more line about JFK. Actually, probably should have the entire JFK entirely. So let me just see anything more, Marilyn, that you really want to tell me about you and Arthur Miller. Marilyn, what do you want to tell me? Courtship, yeah, it was very romantic. I don't know anything about it. If anybody is close to the internet, please kind of like take a look at kind of like what happens. Adjudication, I think this is the divorce. Does she mean that she's really sad about what happens? Can I get one more over here? Oh, this is clearly divorce. And then privileged lady and change. I think she felt she was ready to be on her own. That happened, divorce in 1961. She was 35. It would make sense, right? And that she felt now that she doesn't need this counterpart. Put it in perspective, in 60s, women were still treated like toys, right? We were supposed to be pretty and always smiley and da-da-da-da, and that's why so many women have been on downers and whatnot, because they had it. And meanwhile, I think, and it's kind of like weird, I thought that her issues would be coming up, because she had these mood disorders, and she had also she was an alcoholic as well. But look, none of that was actually interference. So honestly, I don't think this was correct. I really don't. I wonder if she got a bad rap about that. I'm going to do the reading just about that. If she got a bad rap, let's do this. What kind of issues did you have at this stage, Marilyn? Because what we know is that you have been possibly bipolar, and that you have been an alcoholic. So I really want to know the truth over here. I really want to know what's going on over here. Ooh, faith. This is like a very powerful card, right? So in this kind of like deck, we are talking about how high do you go. So it's kind of like all the way over there. And I just like wanted to see if she had any kind of like issues. For example, she would tell us, this is kind of like what I struggle with. But instead, she's telling me she kind of like had this guidance. I don't know if she was religious or not, or this kind of like simply talks about but I think this really tells me, because this whole card, I think the name of the card, I think more of myself, kind of like, if I remember, right? So it's almost like this is really talking about kind of like moving forward. This is talking about somebody taking down the walls. This is really talking about courageously stepping forward. This is really talking about courage. I really think, if I remember, I remember that just before her death, she had a second coming kind of a thing. Before then, I think at the end of her marriage, her career was tanking. She was getting bad reviews. She was trying to be quote unquote, a serious actress, and none of her movies have been well welcomed. And so hence she's probably kind of like where she got depressed, etc. But then things turned around and she was getting all these accolades and everything. So kind of like it didn't make sense. But this is like also about magnetism, attracting. Like, see, these are the higher powers. These are goddesses, right? One is the birth, and I really think here, she wanted to have a child with Arthur Miller. That kind of like was really important. She kind of like felt that this kind of has to be shared that way, And also, I think she felt, and I think Marilyn Monroe is actually very shy. I also feel that she felt that that kind of like now it's okay for her to come into her own, right? To kind of like create her own miracles, if you wish. But I also think that, I don't know if she went to counseling of some sort, that she had lots of people pulling her in different directions, and maybe it was really hard for her to accept a counsel or kind of like influence, because it was just like so much noise happening around her. That's kind of like what tells me. Let's see what you guys are adding to it. Meeting Yogi said, I found something that she was being attacked for being a communist sympathizer because of his connection. Well, to air signs, they would probably have Yoko Ono, John Lennon. Think about it. They would be political, right? Because swords are connected with pushing through, standing up. That's why you see and call swords people rude. You're calling people on their own crap, right? And that can be very annoying to people, because that's what swords need to do. They have to take the doors down, right? So that could be like with two kind of like air, that it's kind of like lifting them all up, right? So let's just think about two air balloons. Now, like, the earth is not holding you down, the water is not holding you down, like the fire is not pushing you apart. Even the fire could propel you as well, but two airs, you're like ready to lift off, right? So what if she was really in touch with the spiritual realm, but at that time it was just only recognized as mentally ill? That can be, keep in mind that schizophrenia is very weird, right? I had a boyfriend whose sister was schizophrenic, and she really believed that she needs to sleep all the time because of her sleep, the dead are connecting with life. And even though at the time that sounds completely nuts, if you really work it through and peel these layers, well, technically what's happening, right? Our soul is our soul, right? And she was really smart. His sister, she's still alive. She's Aquarius, so it would maybe be that she's there, but also it depends what kind of tools you have, what kind of people you have around you, because if you're rich, you're going to be considered an eccentric. If you're poor, you're going to be considered crazy. Well, she was rich, but she was a woman, and she was a woman who lived in the 60s, so maybe that goes down to that, right? Maybe she had a really religious background, didn't know what to do with metaphysical stuff and intuition. I really think this woman was very strong from what I'm seeing so far. That woman kept pushing and pushing and pushing, and each time she fell, she kept pushing. And I don't think she had a big structure around her. She had people demanding, and this is kind of like what this magician told me over here, right? Magician is like, I can do anything, and I will do anything for you. That guy, Arthur Miller, fell down her feet, and he worshipped her. She was the goddess over there, right? And this is kind of like what kind of like really, or was it, sorry, that was Joe DiMaggio, right? Or he was the god, or it was like really something really special, because I think from everything that I see over here, that this was like true love, but this was like more like mentorship that I'm picking up, and it was something that was connecting with her higher power. Keep in mind that when you're a master number in numerology, and I don't know, for some reason I'm picking up she's a master number with Marilyn Monroe. Let me just check. I just really want to do it so I'm not blabbing here nonsense. Let me just see. Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Monroe. And, oh, we should do the sister too. Numerology. Numerology. So she was a life path number 7. Okay, so she didn't get herself a 7 is chariot. That's why I got the chariot here. Huh, interesting. But are they going to give me also what she was prior to that as Norma Jean? I mean, my program is on the other computer, so it's kind of going to be hard. Ooh, what I'm reading here, her difficult childhood was abusive and fatherless. That's maybe what it was. Like, she kind of like knows that she can have male friends, but she also probably needs to have somebody who's solid, who's there for her no matter what. And this is not necessarily what we get out of relationships, right? So Marilyn went by several names before claiming the vibrant Marilyn Monroe. It says the numerology of their names illustrate a profound search for identity. Her numbers show the rather confused drive of an insecure woman who looked for attention. So she was born... Oh, that's her, sorry, this is her birthday. It says 7, but like it's not giving me her name. Oh, there we go. There we go. Which one is they're doing? Okay, so Marilyn was born Norma Jean Mortensen. Although her birth name is important to numerology, her name changed soon after to her baptized name, Norma Jean Baker. Huh, so this is the first change. So you see, when you change names, you change your destiny. This is how powerful this is, right? The result was a strong and opposing alter ego personality. So let's look at the two personality via numerology. I don't know, can I connect this? Let me see if I can, so you can see what I see. And I don't know if it's going to allow me to scroll down, because there it is. Is it going to let me see if I scroll down. Does it scroll down for you? Can somebody tell me? Or no, it doesn't look like it. Oh, that's kind of crappy. That sucks. Okay, so then I'm going to remove this because this doesn't do anything for me here. But I'm going to tell you then, it's just like really quickly from what I see over here, that her initial soul number was 8. So that would make sense. 8 is like what makes us want to put money and want to kind of like create safety for us, right? But on the outside, she was seen as bubbly. So it's kind of like really important, because altogether 8 and 5 would add up to 13. So she had the karma that she had to live through, which is a karmic number, or 4 that adds to it, where she kind of like, it was very pragmatic as Norma Jean Mortensen. But then she went to Norma Jean Baker, and so now her soul number, which would make sense, went to 6, meaning, well, I need home, I need family, and I need to move forward. And that's what we saw it with Chariot as well. And her expression number at this stage 6 and 1 is 7, just like her birth number. So 7 makes you withdrawn, 7 makes you introverted, and when you're so beautiful like she is, I can understand, because I have Tiger. Tiger is like so handsome as a dog. Everybody wants to pet him, but the moment when you come close to him, he's like, leave me alone, I don't want to be touched, kind of a thing, right? So it's just like too much, I guess, doing. So now we have when she invented Marilyn Monroe. Then now, so we are going, she was going from 8 soul number to 6 soul number, and now she's to 7 soul number, which is not a bad, there I was right, she's 11, oh my God. So soul number 7, and like, I mean, how she's seen on the outside as flirty, beautiful, she's number 3. So her expression is 1, and also sub-expression is 11, which is really, really important over here. So hence, I see that Candle in the Wind, that kind of like song is really, really related to that. So I just wanted to see if kind of like I feel it, because that vibration kind of like put her in a completely different space of mind. So the problem is like when you are not born with high vibration. So, right, so you're not born in a what do you call it, racing car. When you're born in a racing car, no problem going in a regular car, right? You will drive them just fine. But if you're just driven just regular cars, and now you're transplanted, and you have to do that, it's going to be tough. It's going to have kind of like rocky road and growing pains and whatnot. And that's kind of like where she kind of like plays herself, and that's kind of like what she had to do it, right? So it's kind of like really interesting, right? So that's kind of like what happened. So what I want to do now is I really want to see this whole JFK. Maybe we can just do it here, since we are doing it, because I'm already toward the end, but not before we do some other stuff. So can you just tell me about Mr. Kennedy and you, the affair, and the Empress? Oh my gosh, she felt on top of the world. It was promised to her, and this one wants to come out too. And we have strength. Yeah, I was just about to say the marriage was promised to her, and I can see it here. And about her and JFK, and then we have the Hangman, and then we go like, it's just like all of a sudden stalled. But look at these 3 majors that are coming through over here, right? So this is 11 and 12. It's 23, so it is like kind of like 5. It goes back to the Hierophant, and it goes back to the fact that he was married, right? I don't know, to me that could be a scandal, but like, I mean, it's kind of like really interesting that she felt so empowered in that relationship. And it was not because of celebrity. The Empress is about the nurturing. The Empress is like, and this is both about nurturing. I think he really treated her well, even though I think he really dumped her in a hurry. We will see kind of like what happened about that. The Hangman, mind you, it did cross my mind when I saw this card that she was removed, right? But the Hangman technically has a different meaning. It has a meaning that you are supposed to, your world goes upside down, because you're supposed to see it from a completely different perspective, right? But it's kind of weird, like she started this life and trying to kind of like pay dues for something that she felt she was like blessed in abundance in the last life. And this kind of just shows that every step of the way was higher and higher and higher and higher. That she was going through these expectations. So can we just go and get a little bit more information about this relationship, but not about the ending? I will ask you about the ending next. This is just about you and JFK. It's high honor. It's high honor over here that they get, an unexpected income, and Lovers. Well, that clears that. It was an affair. It was like not just infatuation. I believe that's maybe why she was told that she is an alcoholic, because it was not convenient for him, and maybe his propaganda machine came up with that. I don't know, did he pay her something? What does it mean, unexpected income over here? Or did she get more popularized as a result of it? I wonder how Jacqueline Kennedy felt about all of that at the time. Clearly the Lovers. And now we need to ask, right? We are coming to death. We are coming to, what the heck, you know, can you tell me about that? And so let's just go with the regular cards. I just didn't feel at any point need to take any of these darker cards to kind of like involve that. So let's just go with this. Marilyn, tell me about your death. You have died on August 4th, 1962. You were just 36. You just turned 36. You divorced a year before from Arthur Miller, and your life was turning around and everything looked to be okay. Just, 3 months before your death, you were singing to JFK that we started with this, and so you were hopeful. So what happened, Marilyn? Just tell me what happened that day. What really happened? So we have Nine of Wands. We have Knight of Cups. And I got a few more cards that came through. Then we have Wheel of Fortune, but my God, isn't this Wheel of Fortune looking like death over here? And JFK was Gemini as well, I believe, and the Wheel of Fortune will connect to fixed signs. I think this is JFK here. Then we have, Eight of Swords. It always comes to me when you're in an affair with married men. And then we have Page of Swords reversed. She had a conversation with JFK that day. I'll tell you, this is what happened. And she did decide to take her own life. Or drink herself into oblivion or something like that. So maybe, I don't know, what was it? That it was her determination of the cause of death. I would say that it was a mixture of the pills and probably booze that kind of like did her in. It was not full play. I just don't see it over here. Can you guys see what I see? Nine of Wands is about fight. She was trying to fight. I think he probably said it's over. I would guess that, because looking this way, I'm fighting, I'm doing all of that for you, and you're looking in a different direction, right? So there's like a turn of fortune. Instead of like embracing it, she felt that her fortune is now blocked with this Eight of Swords. The Eight of Swords is like the second card with the blindfold. We had a Two of Swords, so now we have, oops, I better remove this photograph. Oh, did I put JFK? I don't think I prepared JFK from all people. I didn't, so maybe let me prepare JFK here. Did I? Just give me a second, since we're already here. I don't know if they have anything together. Do they have any pictures where they are shown together? I don't think so, right? So let me just see if I actually prepare JFK. No, I have the sister, I have husbands. So, okay, let me see if I can find anything. So it's going to help me. Because I would guess that his propaganda machine would definitely try. Oh, there it is. Is that it? What is this? Is that like where they were cutting the cake? I guess must be that, because she's wearing the same dress. So I can see them in the same picture, but as you will see now when I put it up, the problem that it's weird because there are no pictures with it. So let me see JFK. Let me just put this up so you guys can see this. And image. I mean, this guy was something. And with him, honestly, I know that he was iconic, especially for you Americans, but I am not getting good vibes. I'm not talking about politics, I'm just talking about who he was as a person. So where is this JFK? I just put a picture there and now it's gone. Where is it? Come on, come on. Let's not lose it. Let's try it again. Where did I put this JFK? Did I save it? Save image as JFK. Let's try this again. It just doesn't want to come through. What the heck that tells you? It's really bizarre. Okay. Now I'm feeling a little bit freaked out. I'm really feeling a little bit freaked out. So save image as, and let's do this. One more time, because if he doesn't show up, that to me is a sign that for some reason that's not coming through. How about now? it's just not showing up. So I know how to overcome the Mercury retrograde. So I had to learn it like from so many times dealing with these issues. So let me try to do that. I'm just going to take a screenshot my thing and we will get this. There we go. This should work now. And let's see. Okay. Cheating the internet. Here we go. Okay, guys. So now we have that. I'm going to keep pushing this camera further and further back so we can see more and more on the table, as you can see, coming to the edge of this. But let's put this back this way as we are pretty much coming to the end. And you see here, that was the dress that she had, where she almost appeared to be naked when she was singing this, right? And I think clearly here we don't see any of that we've seen. This is 1 month. She was apparently sick, very sick when she was doing this. She was doing some filming. They didn't believe her, and that was in May. In August she was dead, right? So Nadine Yogi said JFK was Gemini, born May 29th. So 2 Geminis. So right, it's all good when they're rolling in the same direction, when they don't, and it was just horrible. I mean, just any public person and that kind of information is just really damaging, right? So that's kind of like where it's going to be very important, right? So now, from what I see is over here that he just told her that this is over. That would be my interpretation. She knew this would be coming for a while. I guess she was ready going in, but the whole feeling of her being on top of the world, that she can be the first lady, and I really don't think it's like that prestige that kind of like appealed to her. It was just simply the direction, because 8 of Swords always shows up to me that somebody is in a relationship where they shouldn't be, absolutely, and there's like no way out of it. You feel stuck, and she felt stuck, and Page of Swords is cutting. It's a sharp cut. So even though they said that I think she had committed suicide, I feel that there was like more to it. Maybe they don't want to tell her. Maybe she cut her veins. That's kind of like what that can suggest to me. So let's get here a little bit more information. Child. Whoa. Was she pregnant? Because the Empress can mean pregnancy. Holy moly. Wouldn't that be an issue? Oh my God. What else do I get here? Main female, that is her. She was pregnant. Did she maybe wanted to use that? An occupation and toil and labor. Was it him saying, no, I'm dedicated to my... That would require ridiculous sacrifice to do that. Is... Maybe she has lost the baby. I think the Empress can signify pregnancy here as well, guys. And pregnancy at that age, at that time in space, led to marriage, because you had to marry me to make the right thing. Now he was already married. That's kind of like feels. It feels like it was communication. She was fighting for it. But this really tells me kind of like it just got nowhere. This actually can mean either miscarriage or abortion. That's what it means. And that's what got her in. She had, I think, abortion, because this was a sharp cut. It wouldn't be that way for miscarriage. And that's what got to her. That's everything. And I think the issues that she had at work, issues with the other people, everything culminated at that stage. So this is what happened. So because honestly, I was thinking that we might even find something about murder and whatnot, but it was just coping. It was a really, really hard to cope. Oh my gosh, and we got more information that I thought we would get. I really have to say right now I'm a little bit freaked out. Right now I have a little bit of goosebumps about all of that. So I'm taking this off, and the second part is going to be easier and quicker for BENNIFER. But guys, do you have any parting thoughts about this and MERILYN. And there is actually one more question I want to ask, any kind of like messages from her. So I'm going to draw one more card and kind of like read it for us, just to simply to seal the reading and to kind of like separate us from the second one. And Kipper, put it back because we will not need it for the second part. Well, I don't know if her soul is resting. That's actually one of the questions that I want to know. And what I want to know is if she reincarnated. So let's check this deck and ask that. Did MERILYN, did you reincarnate? Are you back with us? Not yet, but coming soon. 8 of Wands is usually swift communication, swift love, but this means very soon, literally very soon, that she will be here within 8 months. Do you have any plans for your next life? Did you already work your life chart? Strength. She is not going to marry in this life, and it's going to be full of, I would say, possibly affairs, non-committal, so she's kind of probably bitter about that. And the one more, Ace of Pentacles. Actually, she planned for this quite destructive, and it's not going to be building blocks. It's going to be she's going to be a loose leaf in a river, just going as it comes. And she died in 1962 over here on August 4th, 1962. Can you just tell me any other information about you? Justice. I was actually asking inside of me what horoscope sign you are going to be, and but then I asked, can you give me more information about you? And I do believe she's coming, I guess, during the transition of Libra, which is like the last week of September and the first 3 weeks in October. So she is actually going to reincarnate. I honestly suspected that she already has been reincarnated, but she wasn't. So basically, because on the other side, 40 years is like a blink of an eye. It's actually rather quick, and you can go back and forth how you reincarnate. So there you go. So that means, I don't know if you're going to even know about her, because she's taking this new life to be just very easygoing without any kind of like big kind of like waves or anything like that. So, whew, just let's do this clearing. If you guys have any questions, I can just do that right now. She's going to get good karma now, liberated. Maybe she's going to be a man. That's right. That's a pretty good take on it. But we have lost this gender thing, so I think that's where there's like the big advantage that she might have in all of this, right? Whoa. So basically, what we are looking 2021. So the first activation is going to be somewhere in 2041. So I just didn't feel that she's going to have ability to just stay put. I mean, this has to come through. It's going to be something very interesting, because the 8 of Wands came out first, and it's sealed with the Justice. So 8 of Wands is always about vibration, and it's also about love. It's also about these messages that are going to be coming through. So she will be channeling some stuff. Except I thought I'm going to use the same deck for BENNIFER, but I just don't feel I can use that deck. So I'm going to take a different deck, because this is going to be lighter, cheerier reading. So I'm going to go with this one. I'm still enjoying this deck so much. From all the decks, sometimes some decks make an impression. So for these kind of like casual readings, this one to me is absolutely amazing to do that. So it's not about taking past experiences and not repeating them, I think, and that's what I suggest to my clients to get their karma readings. It's actually learning to have a big understanding. The only reason why you come here, because on the other side everything flows, right? So you have that. It's actually learning how does it feel. So it's the opposite of what they think. When we have these people who are in jail, who are like this Charles Manson kind of types, which we think they're devils, actually they're really, really highly high spiritual souls who actually did get approval to live such heinous life, right? You literally need to get approval before boarding into this life. And so that means he has to build in these exit points, what's going to happen. And even like God or whatever you want to call it on the other side, he can be recalled. But technically, if you approve to kind of like go and revolve this kind of life, that means that you probably had been going through layers and layers and layers of reincarnations, where at this stage they tell you, okay, let's see, because you had to live so many positive experiences and now you're balancing them with negative. So it's I think it was called Cloud Atlas, guys. Man, I'm going to watch this movie today with Tom Hanks, where he's really talking about this traveling these through different experiences. One life you're good and one life you're bad, because this is yin and yang. You have to have both, and we always have potential in each and every life to kind of like revolve in both sides. And the whole idea is like to really understand that these people kind of been through it. It's actually the opposite, even though while you're living it, it's not fun for anybody, not for them, not for everybody else who are done. So Triple Moon Goddess, this is how I started. I actually started with past life readings and with counseling my clients, with kind of like hypnotizing them to go into past lives, and just like one thing led to another, right? So that was really interesting. You throw them in your horoscopes. That's kind of like really, really interesting. So, guys, are you ready for BENNIFER? Like, what do you think about that? I remember the last time around, it was like she was this big star and he was like just up and coming, kind of like a young guy. I think both of them are Leos, if I remember right. And it was just too much. I think it was Matt Damon that basically he pulled him away and he said, wait a minute, do you really want to be overshadowed? And it sounded to me it was everything was right other than timing, and as we know, that's really important. So what happened? He went on and married. I think she went on married, what, even twice? Was it first Mark Anthony? I just couldn't comprehend her marriage to Mark Anthony. Let me remove this MERILYN picture. And let's go to BENNIFER. And oh my God, I completely forgot. I have done this whole thing and it didn't do anything. Look at that, what they did on the side. So anyway, let's just do it for a few minutes, just as a sign off for MERILYN. I kind of like prepared a few pictures, which I thought she's really giving us insight into her soul, kind of like to be the part of a reading as well. Before I moved all into BENNIFER, so that's who she was, and I never see arrogance in any of these pictures. And the one with the monkey is hilarious, but apparently she also liked cats, and that's very important. And now BENNIFER reading is going to be about 2 cats, and that's going to be also very important. So let's go to BENNIFER, guys. Now I finally remembered to put them. So they were really happy. When was it? In the beginning of 2000? It was just something like that. They were like much bigger before what do you call it, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie, and kind of like, it's kind of weird. We always wanted, like, Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston to come back together as well. But this is what I want to see right now, what's going to happen in this case and how kind of like do it. Well, both of them are good looking, and both of them are a little bit of media whores, right? So, but that's their Leos, right? They have to shine. It's kind of like they have to be on a pedestal. Sometimes Leo either overdevelop or underdevelop. When they're overdeveloped, they go and they're overly humble and they're taking away that shine, and then other people are confused. They're saying, well, I want to be with you because of the shine, but then Leos are really kind of like already progressing on their path. When they're underdeveloped, they want to shine more and they burn everything in the process. So that's kind of like important, right? So you think she will end up with Mark Anthony. It was like Mark Anthony, who I love, as his salsa songs I love. But there is another guy, I think, that she got married as well and divorced. And I think she also has kids. He has kids. And so let's see what's happening right now. Actually, I didn't prepare their birth dates, and I need that for my reading to be more, let's call it accurate. A piece of paper over here. Let me find out. Let me see. Are they both Leos? You see, Barbie, my Barbie, by this point, she would already give me all this information. Jennifer Lopez is giving me pictures instead of birthday because I'm in the wrong. So she is July 24th, and she's just the beginning of Leo. So she's been between, she's the cuspy person, J-Lo and Ben Affleck. Is Ben Affleck, American actor, August 15th, 1972. Ooh, I didn't realize that he's like 6'5". Oh my goodness, pretty tall. All right, so let's go back to our reading. Now that I have this to shuffle, to put their energy in it, to go forward with this. And guys, hopefully you don't have the humidity that we have in Toronto. It's rather really weird. No, just want to see this one. And back with you. Where are you? Here you are. Did I miss any? That's right. Oh, he cheated on her. Good Lord. Good Lord. So that's going to be interesting. There we go. There we go. Just have me sip of a coffee. Man, he's really, really tall. I actually don't like personally such tall men. I like tall men, but sort of like between 5'11" and 6'2". Anything taller than that, I feel I have to wear heels. And in my age, you get to the point of saying, you know what, I'm not wearing heels anymore. I'm not doing anything anymore. So, whew, can we have the reading if J-Lo and Ben Affleck will make it this time through? I really want to know. So J-Lo, July 24th, 1969. And Ben Affleck, August 15th, 1972. J-Lo, July 24th, 1969. And Ben Affleck, August 15th, 1962. J-Lo and Ben. Jennifer, I don't think they call J-Lo, that he calls her J-Lo. So Jennifer and Ben. Jennifer and Ben. Will they make it? We have Knight of Pentacles. I love this card. This card is really a foundational card to me. It really talks about friendship. And I really think maybe the last time around, like it was like what, almost 20 years ago. So they were maybe not fully ready, and maybe they were too young, and it was like also making a career. Now kind of like they have their, you know, grounds. What's up, mister? What's going on? What's going on? Are you defending me? So this to me is like about a friendship. This to me is like about bonds that need to be kind of like built, that are proper bonds, that, you know, like it's much more. It's kind of like blended families at this stage, but it's also like this like two suns that will shine, that is really needed. And we have Two of Pentacles. There's a juggle of a sword. So that Two of Pentacles, I think, is like what tore them apart the last time. So that is really, really interesting. Oh, he went back to sleep, Mr. Tiger. So let's see. J-Lo, July 24th, 1969, and Ben Affleck, August 15th, 1972. I'm going to put a cross down, and then we are going to do clarification. So we have a Seven of Wands. Then we have reversed the Hierophant, which the marriages didn't really work out. Seven of Wands is really interesting because it's usually about deflecting other people, and maybe they allow other people to enter, but here it is like this connection that is really showing up. Then we have Two of Wands, which can be about the cheating and the issues, or it's just like also can be what kind of world we are going to built together. That's their past. The past is showing as the Tower. No freaking kidding. That was like living hell. Ooh, Three of Swords. I guess the breakup was, it's still on their mind. Like it was like a really, really painful. Really painful. I don't know if you can see it over there, all of these cards. Let me just try to put it this way and lift it up a little bit. Then we see the Hangman, and that's the immediate future. Kind of like, I really don't think there's much planning right now. There's like more like, let's go with the flow, the situation. Then we have Knight of Wands. There it is. They're coming into their fire. Sex is good, very good. That's something that really kind of like gels together. Oh, Two of Cups. Two of Cups. It's interesting because it's in environment. Then we have Knight of Swords reversed. That's hopes and fears. And then we have Eight of Pentacles. The bottom of the deck is Eight of Cups. Not good. If I have to tell you now before I look for the clarifiers, I would tell you unless they look in details and they build it brick by brick, they're not going to work out. It looks to me that they really want to make it work out. They're going sort of like with the flow, with that friendly kind of like atmosphere. There is possibly kind of like bubbling love. But Two of Cups falling in an environment means that maybe something from the outside, maybe somebody again is going to find love on the outside. There is like this possibly resentment or still the pain. I don't think they had a third party. Three of Swords can also mean third party, especially when it's being linked with Two of Wands. Does it mean that this is really telling me about the future? Because King of Swords is kind of cutting things through. There is like that harshness. It's going to be really harsh cutout and somebody walking away in the situation. The Tower and the Tower and Three of Swords is like not something I would really want for people to have in their life. Sorry, which one was the first major arcana on the bottom? Oh, look at this. The Knight of Pentacles is re-showing it over here. I just want to see which one is the first major that comes to us. The Emperor. And the Emperor is like, is this making sense and why this makes sense, right? What I do see is like they're not going to have interference from the current partner. Seven of Wands, it means they want to preserve everything they have. I actually don't think they really want to go into marriage, and maybe this is why the Hierophant showed up, which is weird. When you have two Leos, marriage is always on their mind. They're just like Libras. To them, this is feeling accomplished. But that tells me that maybe this is also a problem. I don't know if a problem is a really good word or not, right? But this is really telling me that, you know, like, I mean, honestly, this is possibly the best way. As a counselor, I would tell you, just take it easy, take it one day at a time. There is enough passion, but this almost like tells me there is like a dark horse happening and somebody's coming from the outside, and almost like that it might be her. So let's go with clarifiers and kind of like see this more. So let's see the past. See the Knight of Swords. Like, I mean, somebody running away in a hurry, right? And I think this is her telling us she needed to rebuild herself. Was it him or her who got married? But I don't know. None of these marriages made sense, right? I never felt him and Jennifer Gardner. Never felt it like a connection. And I never felt her and Mark Anthony. It kind of like was like almost like an arranged marriage that would make sense. But that's what tell me. Like, I mean, it's just kind of like maybe they had their own goals that they had to do it. Maybe the simple thing talks about, hey, you need to establish yourself as a person, as your career. So let's see the Seven of Wands. It's kind of like pulling it together. It generally also talks about defending yourself from the outside forces, and maybe this kind of like got to the Devil. Page of Pentacles and Three of Cups. Why did I pull three instead of two? I don't know. I guess there were temptations, and there are temptations even right now. the devil clearly, they kind of like feel that they're doing something wrong. There's like this overwhelming sense that somehow exists, and this is not good, because the devil and the Hierophant reversed, it just tells me this is not going in the direction of a marriage, or if it does, it's not going to last. Because now this is further clarified with Three of Pentacles. What is really needed is not just two of them, but the other things to be on board. Yeah, for their happiness, and look at this is 10 and 3. For their happiness, what is really needed, that it feels strong and feels structurally strong, and then their love will shine. It's almost like kind of like, yeah, it can be built even without some kind of like super duper structure, but you need that, which I don't think at this stage, at least, they're doing it. They're more like one toward each other. So this is, I guess, not still in a stage that you're kind of like moving it forward. So let's see this Three of Swords. Ooh, the Five of Cups and the Knight of Cups. That was painful. So who said rebound? NLNA. Like, it's so hard to tell. Like, you have like really complicated thing, but that could be rebound energy. It could be that they want to revive the past. So this is where the problem is. Like, you're a different person 20 years later. Yeah, you still have the core and the soul, but you're a different person. You have kids. You have past husbands, past wife at this stage. You need to move forward. But this was painful, guys. Look, something opened. There's a hole. It's a big hole. And I guess they feel cheated. They both feel cheated. That's kind of like where this tremendous, these are like two very painful cards. Very, very painful. And feeling like you were my prince. You were like my knight in the shining armor. Like, that's you're all that I wanted. What happened? So there is like a resentment happening over here. It could be a little bit of, good job. You wanna come and say hi? Come say hi. Hoppy? Hello? You wanna get married? Why? You think this is in your best interest? You wanna marry Brad Pitt? Really? Not Ben Affleck? Him too? You can marry them. Oh. So let me see this Two of Wands. What is this all about? Now we have Strength reversed. And watch out. And then we have Queen of Pentacles. Again, this is confirming that this kind of like, that building, this relationship is not going to be built in a way of marriage. It's kind of like the doubt is being placed, and fear. And so look at her, she's wearing this big heart over here, and it's just kind of like mirroring the Three of Swords. It's kind of like, it's a fear. Literally, there is a big fear. I guess you're older, the older we get, the more fear we have. Either you remove all the fear, right, and then you just go loose, or you have a little bit more fear. And of course, Safi is rearranging all my cards. So let's see. The Hangman is coming with a High Priestess. So very soon it's going to be a stage, and I really think that's going to be the problem, that all this publicizing the last time created so much damage. So the High Priestess is like kind of pulling it in, trusting your own instincts. Where do you go? But this also means pulling in from the public eye as well. And Nine of Pentacles is, guys, like somebody likes their singlehood. Somebody doesn't want to be encumbered with marriage issues or that kind of like sort of things. So it just sounds to me that two of them are really enjoying romance, but when would come to the time that this, hey, you know, you want to go into something kind of like more serious, I think this is when they'll start to polarize. So see this Knight of Wands, ooh, we have death or rebirth. And we have Eight of Wands. So there is appreciation, there is love between the two of them, there is interest. Like Eight of Wands is like a spark. It's not necessarily love. You're going to see what is this Two of Cups talking about. But it's interesting that I got this death of rebirth. So this is to me talking about they are really thinking really highly, and they're feeling this connection is right. They're currently really, really enjoying it, right? it's kind of different because the last time this was just heading toward marriage. I think they were probably even, they were engaged, right? Or something like that. But like not, this time around, like it kind of like feels karmic. They had to karmically come together and push things through and kind of like clarify certain things. So let's see what is about this Two of Cups. It's also about Six of Swords. And it's also about Ten of Swords. Is it somebody else who feels... Safi, we have too many cards on the table. That's why I pushed you off the table. Come on, like just in 10 minutes. In 10 minutes. 16, 18. It's again what's going to come here in a way, and I think this is where it's linking with Marilyn's reading, is this publicity or something. There is like an energy, but why is the Six of Swords is like also walking away energy? It's just like Eight of Swords, and Ten of Swords is also walking away energy. But why is this happening in their environment? Is it going to be again the environment that is going to cause them? Because honestly, I think Matt Damon got the blame for the first time around. Like, he really just talked to his friend and said, just watch out, this woman already has divorces. Is she going to have a lasting power? Kind of like, I guess he knows Ben Affleck better, that this guy wants something solid, but that is weird. Then let's see this King of Swords. It's clarified with Nine of Swords. And with Page of Swords, yep, I'm not seeing this lasting. I'm sorry, sweetie, but you can't be here. You cannot be here for a moment. She doesn't like to be neglected, and that's exactly what I'm doing to Safi. And the Eight of Pentacles is really talking about rebuilding yourself, finding what is important, finding that King of Pentacles and Three of Emperors. And this is really interesting because this actually can be one of those, because this is not part of the reading, it just like was the bottom of a deck. This tells me that it looks like that something, that they will go to a breakup, and after the breakup, either, and I think for her, she's going to find somebody who she's going to marry, or they're going to rebuild themselves brick by brick by brick by brick. And Marianne, this can actually also indicate pregnancy. That actually is really indication of, and I didn't think that she would want another child, but that can actually indicate pregnancy. It can talk about being put on a pedestal, and look, he's looking at her in such a kind of like loving and accomplished way. It's kind of like, that's all I wanted. It's kind of devotion and home. And look at this, it's a pentacle, it's a pentacle, it's a pentacle. And I think this is what is telling me, as long as they are staying in their wands, in their fire, in their element, which they are here right now, this is like where things are fun, and this is like where the connection is really working. In order to move this forward, in order for that to be happily ever after, there are lots of resentments from the past. There has to be everything that has to be put in together. And this tells me that they have to have a vision why to move forward. Just for two of them to move forward would make no sense, and that would not last. For things to move forward for them would make sense, and for that they would really have to have this vision. But I see here that at least one of them will still have a child in the future, and this could be him being married as well. I don't know, this guy almost looks like him, much older him. Actually, this woman also kind of looks like her as well, kind of like how she presents herself. So it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird because the potential is there, but they would really have to fight for it, because there are so many things against them. Not in terms of in between the two of them, but things will get in the way, and there are also things from the past that will come in a way. So guys, this is it. I was hoping it's going to be happy ending. We all can at least live vicariously through other people. So I want to give you Marilyn's message for the very, very end to seal this reading. I don't know, what do you guys think about these? Should we continue this series? It's very draining for me, but I'm glad to see that information from the people. So let's see. This one is already coming out. Gentle Gardener, and that is from Madame Marilyn Monroe. I'm going to read this for you because it's so well written. There's no need to interpretation. So it says, oh my God, I'm getting goosebumps. Look at this beautiful picture. These are like, I mean, eggs cracking and kind of like celestial powers. MERILYN probably looking at us. And this is what it says. And Safi is giving you the insight to her little furry bum. So hold on. Let's just put in MERILYN's pictures. Yeah, we are just gonna do anything. You're going to click something when you kind of do stuff like that. You just will do. Yeah, you will do. So this is what it says, guys. It says, be your own person. Be a conscious co-creator. The gentle gardener is visiting you at this moment in your life to remind you that your thought, sorry, there you go. There are crystals on the floor. Safi arrange that. To remind you that your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs create the reality you experience. She is the embodiment of the energy within you that is sent out into the field of co-creation and ensures that all that you are is reflected in the world of form. Are you aware of your thoughts? What is their quality? Believe in limitless possibility and you will see miracles unfold. The gentle gardener guarantees the integrity of everything you send out into the world. Stay positive and expect a wondrous return. Your garden is abundant with beauty. So I really hope, guys, this kind of like really gave me chills when I started to read, and I really hope, you know, like, I mean, it's very hopeful. It's pretty much summarizing kind of like what we got from her, and kind of like what is the message that we really need to receive. So I hope, you know, you guys had interesting time. Not many people joined, but like, I really hope that somebody will come later and kind of like listen to that, because this is going to be timeless. So this is just definitely celestial. I'm watching upon you, and just remember, she's coming back within months. What is like now June, so within 3 months to 4 months is going to be a reincarnation that is really happening. So let's see, to catch up with some messages. Creative said, weirdly, it feels to me like they have come together in past lives as well, as they keep having issues and trying to work it out. Something like one betrayed the other and they want to make it right. That's what happens, but it's really hard to work it with our human energy, apparently. I mean, you literally have to have a guidance which energies you need to clear. And many of them are just thinking and relating to kind of like the guidance they have at the time, and that's kind of like what works. Lynn, it made me cry tears of joy. Oh my gosh, I know, I was just on the verge myself. You mean this deck over here? This is like Colette Baron Reed, the Enchanted Map. I love these oracle cards. Usually I seal the readings and I do private readings with that, because the messages are very powerful, and you can go up and down and look at it. She has pretty much any series, a whole bunch of other series that are really amazing. So it's weird she passed around my twin was born. Oh, in 1962. Jesus, you know, my dad's birthday is August 5th, so it's kind of like really weird how that kind of like just happened the day before, and I guess he must have been affected with that, even though he was not into any kind of like celebrity or whatnot. Thank you guys so much. This was really different, and I hope you liked it. I hope you kind of like enjoy it. I mean, it was my client that suggested let's do MERILYN, and I immediately connected. She actually also suggested J-Lo and Ben Affleck, and I felt, okay, that kind of like works. It's about the same realm of energy. So whenever I have this extra kind of like space within a month, then we can do that. So the next time around, we are doing monthlies for the month of July. So we're going to do this general reading for all the signs. And until that next time, I just wish you all have a beautiful weekend and enjoy yourself. And I don't know what kind of temperatures we have. Like, we are like really hot here in Toronto. It's all kind of like crazy, but I have also cleaned my desktop and I have no ideas where my audio files are. So on that note, I'm just going to tell you kind of like namaste to everybody. Thank you, MERILYN, for showing up, and thank you for this energy. So let's see what happens. Love you all a bunch, and I'll talk to you soon. All the best to all.